Whoa, buddy. Whoa, buddy. We're here with Jordan Reviews It. Uh, Today, ladies and gentlemen, things are heating up out there in that hip hop, that rap atmosphere. Uh, and quite honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting treacherous. It's getting treacherous. Um, I want to preface all this by stating this though. And today we're talking about the Drake and the Kendrick Lamar beef, right? We're not talking about the industry versus Drake. And I think it is important for us to properly paint the narrative of what's actually happening here, right? So we have a lot of people out there saying, oh, it's Drake versus it's 1 versus 30, all this stuff, right? Well, I think that really what it is Kendrick Lamar sounded the alarm. And everyone's, in my opinion, hopping on for clout or to be a part of the moment. And really, all we're really talking about here is Drake and Kendrick. Um, I think that there are some justifiable things like around that whole "we still don't trust you, we don't trust you" sort of moment that's being created right now. But a lot of this stems from that quote unquote big three battle. Uh, Over the weekend, we got this highly anticipated Drake response, right? Um, and so, before we dive deeper into that, I want everyone to understand again, this is about Kendrick and Drake. While the moment is including all these other individuals, it's about Kendrick and Drake. So I don't really follow the narrative of this whole 30 versus 1 thing. Now, there are some considerable things out there regarding an individual's willingness to say something to Drake because let's be real about Drake. He's the king of the sneak dissers. He's the king of the sneak dissers. Okay? It's I mean, you can look and shuffle through a lot of the music and there's a lot of sneak disses about more people than just Kendrick. And I think people are at the point where it's like, "Oh, here's my perfect time to respond because he actually has a formidable foe who, in my opinion, we pretty much know is going to knock it out the park and who we know Drake has been ducking for all this time. So let me hop in on this big three moment and let myself be heard and known." In talking about the Drake and Cole, or rather the Drake and Rick Ross fiasco, and then well, the Drake plus the 29, right? Again, it's Nav, it's Future, Metro, Rick Ross, and a little bit of French Montana. Um, and there's the whole illusion that Rick Ross being a Miami boy, a close friend of French Montana, didn't like the fact that Drake sent a cease and desist to French on a verse that he dropped, and basically, I guess, prevented some opportunity to capitalize on the music industry for French or whatever it may be. Maybe there was a sneak diss in the bar in the way that he said it or whatever. And maybe, Ross didn't like that. So uh Ross unfollows him. Drake becomes aware. He sends this bouquet of flowers to um Rick Ross's baby mother. Now, again, if we're talking morally here, you're crossing the line a little bit when you get people's females involved, but at the same time, that's the Drake thing to do. Uh, and I guess Ross took that personally, and he dropped a diss track of his own. Uh, and apparently, this Monday morning, we got a diss track from Kendrick. Now, I do want to also throw out there that this is the first time ever. This is the first time ever that we have participated or we've been able to witness or spectate a rap beef where nobody's putting their name on shit. I mean, nobody, right? We got this random Drake verse that everybody is like, oh, it's AI, it's AI, it's AI. It's not AI. If it was AI, you'd be able to hear the synthesizer, and not all of the bars would sound as consistent as they do, or rather, there's a way to tell, right? There's a way to tell, right? Then Ross drops, and everybody says, "Oh, it's AI," right? And then Ross gets on uh, uh, um, an Instagram story with the beat playing in the background while he's chuckling. So we get a little bit of a verification there, and then this morning we get a release from supposedly Kendrick Lamar, which is a response. Now let's lay down the playing field, right? This is a game of this is a heavyweight boxing match. And if we know anything about boxing, the sport, it's a sport of rounds. It's a game of rounds, right? If you knock somebody out in the first round, you just so happen to hit somebody with a really good punch, right? But even when we're watching Gervonta Tank Davis out there, right? Very talented fighter, right? He still has to come in those first 2 rounds studying his opponent, right? And responding tactfully, right? So we can't expect it to be 1 or 2 or 3 diss tracks, right? It ain't over until somebody drops that track that trumps the other individual. That's how rap beef works, right? That's how we've always known it to be, right? There's been the 50 Cent Ja Rule, 50 Cent Rick Ross. We all know the moment when that beef was over. Nas and Jay-Z. We all know the moment when those beefs were over, right? Musically, right? We all knew that moment. When Ether dropped, we knew it was over. After that, and I don't care what you say, Jay-Z, it's done, right? When 50 Cent dropped the Officer Ricky track, we knew it was over. Exposing that core element that no one had any visibility to ended it at that moment in time. Yeah, we know that Rick Ross is the greater overall artist than 50 Cent in terms of career wise, his ability to make music. Again, 50 Cent more popular, right? But in terms of quality of music over time, Rick Ross is the better artist. And I think that's a great analysis when we look into the Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole feat, right? Because while Drake is the more popular artist, some people would say does hip hop, right? And Kendrick Lamar is the more appreciated artist, right? The last one is better, right? Just because one is more appealing to the global audience doesn't necessarily make that person the better of the other in terms of what this dynamic will be or how the result of this beef will foretell itself. Now, we understand the rap beef is over the moment that that person drops that trump card, right? And so the first blow of this current battle or this current war, because we know that they've been through it throughout their career. And if we're talking about World War One, Kendrick and Drake, it was definitely Kendrick. And it was a silent battle. It wasn't something we really, I wouldn't say didn't pay attention to, but it wasn't something that got as much notoriety, or it wasn't as it wasn't similar to the typical results of a beef, right? And we all know this era. We're talking about the BET Hip Hop Award control verse era of music, right? Where Kendrick is putting names on it. He's shooting shots directly, but we continually get these sneak disses from Drake, these subs, these sneak disses, right? No name on it. But if we parse through the verses, we know who it's geared toward. And you might be the assassin, right? But the assassin works alone. His target is typically a lot smaller than that man down there on the battlefield who's making his way up to the throne to call that kingdom his. And in War One, we gave it to Kendrick. We have to. We got to look back at this. We got to look at the overall landscape here. Kendrick got the first war of this career beef. Now we're here in this current moment where it has arisen, right? That rapper that was back in his pajama clothes has now, after he's deemed himself the new Mike, put on his shiny shoes and cape and said, I'm ready now. And so Drake teams up with Kendrick Lamar, with J. Cole, right? Drake teams up with J. Cole. And yeah, while we know Cole was never really about the beef, or at least now we know, right? Because we got to understand, and I heard a lot of people talking in response to J. Cole's apology. When we talk about hip hop beef, rap beef, we're not talking about Tupac and Biggie stuff. We're not talking about Pop Smoke and Hoover Crip stuff. We're not talking about that. That's street stuff, right? Beef and competition has always been in the domain and spectrum of rap music. If you're going to call yourself the best, and if you're going to call yourself the best, you got to compete. And this is how rap started, right? This is how rap rose to its notoriety and fame. The battle rap arena, right? That's where it comes from. Me besting you over wordsmithing in the controversial nature of the bars that I'm spitting. That is the height of what this is we call rap. Make no mistake, while rap has been able to rise to this status of popular appeal, thanks to Drake, by the way, we got to give him his props. While rap, and Kendrick as well, while rap has been able to rise to the status of popular appeal, right, amongst all people, right? Because at a certain time, rap was just within its particular domain. Nobody else believed in it. By now, it should have been dead, right? And it could be argued that Drake saved rap. But Kendrick, in my opinion, saved hip hop. But he couldn't have did it without Drake. But how we respect and appreciate Drake couldn't be as much as what it is without a guy like Kendrick. Call that controversial if you want to. Call that controversial if you want to. But I think the two, even Cole, as a trio, all benefit from one another, whether we like it or not. So again, while Cole has removed himself from the equation of competition, fine. In my opinion, that removes him from ever being able to call himself the best. While he's still in that top three, I get a lot of people saying, oh, he's not there anymore. No, he's still there because he still has that great talent. He still has a memorable prowess in today's domain of music. And when we say top three, big three, all this stuff, we're talking about currently, right? We're not talking about of all time. Okay. So he solidified himself in the third spot. Fine. Right? Now, Kendrick and J. Cole, right? It's about the competition. Kendrick won War One. War Two kicks off with first person shooter. And Kendrick responds to first person shooter being his verse on type shit. I'm sorry, on like that, on the Metro Boomin We Don't Trust You album. Was a response to first person shooter. After listening to like that, made me go back and listen to first person shooter. And when you listen to it, again, King of the Sneak, this is Drake. is very much into the beef with Kendrick, and he's digging at it, and then he has Cole to double up on some of the things that he's saying. And while Cole's was much more about the competition as well, which he understood at that time, and for some reason didn't understand later on when things were about to get a lot heavy. And if you choose to bow out, you choose to bow out. You got to respect it, right? You get to keep your kingdom, but you will always be subservient to the head of the house, of the head of the houses, right? The Game of Thrones. So when we look at this current war, this rap war two, right? Like that was a response to first person shooter. That was round one. That was round one. Okay. And I think we can all agree that Kendrick won round one. Kendrick won round one. He sound the alarm of the fact that, okay, it's happening, right? He brought everyone's attention to what was going on and what is. And not only that, every knock that you could give Kendrick's music, this track contradicted that, right? You could say, "Oh, you make good rap, but it's not popularly appealing." But now he gives you this, like that track that was number one for 2-3 weeks. Hmm. Hmm. Right? While that whole entire album was fantastic, right? And is in my opinion the best rap album of this year so far, a part of how we were able to appreciate the album and giving it its due listen is because that verse from Kendrick, right? Whenever Kendrick drops something, we open up our minds, our hearts, our ears, and we find the appreciation for what it is because we know over time he's proven his ability to give us quality so that we don't have to find quality in anything that he does. He is 100% quality, right? And then when we talk about the nature of, oh, Kendrick doesn't drop that much, Drake's dropping all the time. Again, people, we got to understand quality over quantity. And it's not like we're talking about a person with 2 albums. We're talking about a person with a legit 6 to 7, depending on what you consider albums in his catalog, legit projects that are worthy of calling themselves classics. I cannot say that for every Drake project. And while this is a person with mass appeal, popular appeal, and everything that he does is going to chart, be on Billboard, get listened to because how he's able to appeal to the masses. Not everything he produced was quality. Not everything he produced was quality. He gave us Drake, but I'm going to be real with you. After Nothing Was the Same, Drake started to decline to me. I think Scorpion was a really good album that a lot of people overlooked because Views was so bad. And I don't think Views was so bad, but I just feel like Drake got back to his core self in a way. And he didn't realize that he's so popular that his core audience shifted so fast. And that core audience that appreciated him was no longer the people that appreciated what Views was. Because Views reminded me of that peacoat Drake. And I liked it. And everybody likes to say, oh, but when you go back and listen to it, no, what was it when it dropped? That has impact, that means something, because when we go back to listen to a lot of music, we realize how good it is. I mean, it doesn't matter when it was made, right? Because when you're a certain type of artist, you always put quality behind what you make, whether people recognize that or not, right? Is up to the listener, and we have to understand there's an aspect of quality that is attributed to initial reaction and impact, and how people perceive something at the time that it was released, right? For instance, I give you Rowdy Rich, for example. He hasn't changed as an artist. He hasn't given you any less effort or rap ability as an artist over time, but we still can't seem to let go of the one album he dropped with Box, and the one before that, Feed the Streets, of how great those albums were. So everything after, if they don't have as much of the impact as that had, it's not as good. And that's my example, because he has dropped great projects since then. They just don't have the mass appeal or the publishing or the visibility that the initial project may have had. And so individuals don't appreciate it as much. Right? So now, this weekend, currently, round two went underway. And round two, well, ladies and gentlemen, it picked up with the battle. It picked up with the battle, right? It picked up with the battle. And there was some neighboring kingdoms that said, hold up, it's my time. It's my time to show the world that this dude out here talking like he the best and shitting on all these other guys at the top. I gotta say something too. Right? This guy who disrespected me in a way, I gotta chime in and say something too. Right? This guy had an issue with the fact that I unfollowed him because of something that happened offline, and then boom, 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 I get caught up in the mix. Okay. Okay. Cool. Right? And this is my thing. We got to talk about another aspect of appeal here. Rick Ross makes great music. And I would say that he has a level of commercial appeal that is comparable to Drake. And while it isn't as mass appealing as Drake, some people would say that has a colorist attribute. Drake's light skin, half white. Maybe people are able to appeal to him more because of that, which helps to propel his career. And people say, "Oh man, you're that race stuck, da da da." But that has an impact. That has an impact. We saw it with Common. We saw it with LL Cool J. We saw it with Will Smith. It has an impact. Now, these ain't the lightest apples on the tree we're talking about here, but those of us who know. And you can throw all of that out the window if you want to, fine. But we got a diss track from Drake. And first listen, I'm like, all right, this guy went in. He said a lot. Right? How you big stepping in a size 7.5. Um, you know, I'm big in I'm out in Tokyo. I'm out in Tokyo because I'm big in Japan. You dudes just local, right? Y'all was out there having fun on that Coachella stage. But if your baby moms chime in, it ain't gonna be so fun. And while those are shots, while those are notable of listen, appreciation, and while it's a few good hooks, jabs, and uppercuts, the opponent is still in the ring and he hasn't gone down yet. And both are still swinging, right? That's not the trump card, right? It's the, oh, but I'm here. I'm listening. And this is my response, right? And when you're in that ring, it's a game of stamina as well. You have to be able to keep up with your opponent. Got to be able to keep up with your opponent. And so, boom, Rick Ross catches a stray. Rick Ross responds with a track of his own. And quite frankly, this is an individual that isn't new to beef at all and understands the opportunity of the moment and takes advantage. Others, I think, choose to stay out of it. They can't win. They know that. No matter how close they get. But Ross is like, nah, I'm here. I have the trump card. You're not going to chime in if you don't have a trump card. Ross chimes in. He says, I have the trump card. Whew. I've never seen a person's name change so fast. We went from Drizzy Drake to BBL Drizzy to Cupcake Drake. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's true. Drake posted a screenshot of a conversation with his mom on social media. That shit's weak. That shit's weak. It is not the time to be light skinned, my brother. It is not the time for these light skinned Drake antics, my brother. That ain't gonna help you. It's time to go in. Ross drops his diss track. And obviously he says some things on the verses and what have you, but it was really the last 10 seconds of non-rapping that took the stage here. And we know how these guys go in the industry, have to maintain an image, have to maintain appeal. And don't get me wrong, Drake takes me as the superficial type in that regard. And he's got the money, right? And so Ross mentions he got the BBL. How you got 6-pack abs and you 26% body fat? It don't make sense. Ladies and gentlemen, that's controversial. Ladies and gentlemen, that's borderline trump card. I think that's the last we might have heard of the battle between Rick Ross and Drake. Rick Ross has enough to not drop another song again and just troll. That is the way beef is played socially and musically, right? Giving yourself something to string the person along. And Ross has been at it and in it with the best of them. And I don't think Drake comes out on top of this one. No matter how much you drop a track that sells, it makes money, what have you, whatever. You don't. I think Rick Ross has dropped the trump card. He let us all know that this individual is touchable. He's touchable. That's just my take. I'm not saying Drake is down for the count, but he's not Floyd Mayweather. The defense ain't as good as we thought it was. He can be touched. Right? And of course we this was proven a long time ago from Pusha T, yeah. But Pusha T is a different animal. He's a different animal. Right? Rick Ross He's got it in him. We seen him get into it with 50, right? I'm just saying. I don't think Drake can top this. I think what he needs to do is focus on him and Kendrick because Kim and Kendrick are the only ones willing to keep it within the bounds of music. And guys like Ross, boy, they can string this thing in so many ways where their next album is doing 10 times better than what it should have done because of their ability to play this out. That is what you're looking at in terms of a trump card, ladies and gentlemen, in the world of beef, in the spectrum of beef. So boom, that battle, in my opinion, that exhibition, right? That sidebar was decided. So okay, you know that spar, right? You know the footage got out. They saw my weaknesses. Now back to the main event. Kendrick and Drake. There was a lot said in that diss track from Drake. There was a lot that could have potentially pushed the boundary. In my opinion, I just think that when we're rapping and it's about beef, Drake has this tendency of bringing up the women you're with, right? And when it's a quote unquote escort, when it's a quote unquote hoe, when it's a quote unquote uh lady of the night, fine. You can talk, you can mention those names, those pillow talk, all that stuff. But when it's your wife, hey bro, chill out. Hey bro, chill out. Be with a couple bodyguards like Whitney. When you brought up Pusha T's wife, what happened? I mean, I'm just saying, Drake, you're not the one to talk about a person's significant other. You're I mean, you got it's like the short person calling the tall person short for his height. You can't do it. You can't stand on your choice in women here. And so this morning we we got something from Kendrick. And again, everybody's calling it fake, but if it was fake, we'd be able to pick up some signs that it was. And this, to me, ladies and gentlemen, sounds very real. And while the track isn't as mass appealing as the Drake track, is it as punchy as the Drake track? He's talking that talk. Let's listen in. Let's listen in. Utter my name 3 times in front of your mirror. You hesitate to proceed after you reconsider. Lights flickered, the energy in the room shifted. Scared to open your eyes, cause you feeling the ghosts of Kendrick. I dominated your favorite rapper, you idolize. My silence is enough to make niggas apologize. Retract the statements, cold saying, regretting his lyrics. MCs die when you revive a competitive spirit. How to kill a rapper, let them do it to themselves. Self-inflicted career wounds that fear helped. Drop nukes, surprise moves, height of respect. They promised me my death, now they deleted threats. One rap nigga dead, laid on the floor. And I didn't even have to throw bullets for him to go. Now that we got that out of the way, it's one more to go. Stop wasting time, let's get the show on the road. Niggas was ignoring repeat disses, and when they give respond, they entertained it as sneak disses. And now that it's correct, it's leak disses from burner pages and all. Insecure behavior from niggas y'all call guards. I know that you were sensitive and emphasis on lame, seeking validation from rap critics, slandering names. Legacy forever cemented, I will reign. The next move, make your best move is detrimental. Grab your blocks when you see K-Dog better. Man. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a rap beef. We got a rap beef round 2. Now, while I do think these two tracks, I think we're still in round one, round two. I don't think they take us out of round two into something else. We still need to verify whether or not these two tracks are real. And this is my big thing about these diss tracks. And with the exception of Ross, because he put his name on it with the whole Instagram story. And I get that there's certain industry dynamics to this. Um, and I think that also alludes to like some contradictory or contradiction in what Drake mentioned with "Let Me See the Splits," like Kendrick. I, these artists ain't putting their name on these diss tracks, bro. This is the first time in history where we got a beef going on, and it ain't we don't. It's no name on the top of the paper. You know what I'm saying? Is the industry just experimenting with artificial intelligence right now? What's really happening? Put your name on it, right? Get that shit to who kid at least and be like, yeah, it's definitely me. Let somebody be a verifiable source for the fact that we're in the ring. And this Kendrick track being what it is, I think that what it is like, and when you really parse it out, pay attention to it, and listen to it. Well, I think it's the mid round blow. It's just keep this shit in context, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you gonna drop a diss track, drop a diss track. Stop with the sneak this and say my motherfucking name. You paying attention to this to everything else, but the fact that it's just me and you in the ring. Fuck Future. Fuck all these niggas. Fuck Metro Boomin. Fuck Rick Ross, Nav, all these other motherfuckers out here. It ain't about them. It's me and you. It's mano y mano. It's me and you. Fuck them. Fuck the critics. Fuck everything everybody's saying. Just drop that diss track. Let's get competitive. Let's go back and forth. Let's spar. Let's fight. Let's see who comes out on top, because I'm tired of the debate. Yeah, you got quantity. You got mass appeal. You got money. You got power. But I got the respect. That's what Kendrick's saying. Nobody is ever going to question Kendrick's rap ability. Nobody's ever going to question the hip hopness in Kendrick, the realness of what Kendrick is doing. But Drake, my friend, a lot of what you say and do and personify is questionable. Yeah, some of this music you're not writing in terms of the hook and the cadences of certain songs. That's fine, right? A lot of people want to write for you because they want that opportunity. You're supposed to take that as a major artist. I'm not knocking you. I'm not saying you got this ghostwriter, because I don't think people really understand what a ghostwriter is. At a time, yes, you did, right? People legit giving you bars. And in my personal opinion, I think Wayne wrote a lot of early shit for you, right? Or at least helped your early shit be as dynamic or good as it is, rap wise, right? But now it's your time to show the world all these things that they say you're not, to prove it to the world. And I believe all Kendrick wants to do is put this shit in context. We gotta understand that just because this motherfucker's popular, just because a lot of people know him, listen to him, and every time he drops something that's on Billboard, it doesn't mean he deserves the respect of a true hip hop artist. And he's not going to get that respect until he goes 10 toes with the best of the best in that domain. And I love this era because it's the first era where we're able to really put this in context, right? And I think in times with like LL Cool J and his disses or who he got into it with, right? And even with some of the Eminem disses and things like that, right? We knew LL could really rap. We knew M could really rap. That wasn't a question, right? We've gotten rap ability from Drake, but a lot of what Drake produces is hip hop. right? A lot of people like talking about Drake is one of the best rappers around alive. But what is rap? Rap isn't just about making a song, right? What is the art of rap, right? Your ability to make something appealing, right? Your ability to present flow, wordsmithing, XYZ, right? And the question becomes, how good does Drake do that? How well does he do that? And a lot of people question that about Drake. No one questions that ability in Kendrick Lamar. And that's why he emphasizes money, power, respect. The last one is better. You can die with money and power, but as soon as you go, it's gone. With respect, you live forever, ladies and gentlemen. Rap War 2, mid round 2. That's where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. And until these rappers put their name on these diss tracks, ain't shit happened yet. Until they start saying names, right? Ain't nothing happened yet. We just reacting to the social experiment of AI rap, in my opinion. Now, again, we have all this appreciation and social response because we think it could be real. And I think that most likely it is real. But there's industry stuff, there's publishing stuff, there's contractual stuff that I think gets in the way that prevents this from having its ability to be as possible as we want it to. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We will see. We will see. Rap War, Rap World War II. We're midway through the second round. I don't think that a winner of this round has been decided yet, because nobody has their name at the end of their punches. But if somehow everything we put out now is going to be verified or is verified, XYZ, whatever, I'm calling this one a draw. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, you're giving Kendrick the benefit. He didn't say anything in that 1 minute and 30 something song." He did. But a lot of you all who listen to Drake have to understand your aptitude for real hip hop isn't up to par. And I don't take anything away from you guys as fans, but I don't think you all have the ability to understand what Kendrick is really saying. And I appreciate both of these artists for who they are. But anyone who understands real rap, real hip hop, they know Drake has never been in the top 5 when it comes to rap ability. In terms of hip hop, in terms of rapping, right? In terms of song making, in terms of music, of course, right? But Drake has never been the top rapper. He's never been the top hip hop artist. He's never been that. And we've always known that from the start, which is why we initially appreciated him for being able to rap and do R&B, which he wasn't the first to do, but that's what we chose to give him as a moniker. But I think it's about time we put it in perspective. And I think this particular beef at this particular time, at this particular junction, will end in allowing us to understand that about one or the other. Who's really the best? Can Drake speak for all of the hate or criticism he receives in terms of his ability to rap? And can Kendrick do what we know he's supposed to do? or will he? I mean, he's proven it so far with with the Like That song. The only knock on Kendrick is you got quality, but in a rap beef, you gotta respond in a timely manner. Let's see where this goes, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of Jordan Reviews It. I thank you all for listening. I thank you all for listening. I really do appreciate it. Coming at you live, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.